Our apoapsis is growing. It's it's getting farther and farther away from us. Our curve is expanding. Our speed is increasing. And we have a periapsis. Once this hits about 70, you can cut the throttle again. And this is brought out all the way to 255 meters. Now, it's actually not the most efficient way to get out into space. I should have probably throttled down and waited to get closer to the apoapsis again, and then throttle to bring the periapsis out. But we're in space. You can give yourself a high five. Yeah, give yourself a high five. See how that sounds, or a pat on the back, or whatever you choose. But we are in orbit, guys. We are in orbit. Congratulations to all, and to Jebediah Kerman. Look at him. Look at him. He's just ecstatic. He is so happy to be out here in space. And so are we. There's the sun with our tiny spacecraft in the foreground. And there's the giant Kerman. Planet Kerman. Nope, Kerbin. Sorry. In the background there. Very, very exciting stuff, guys. Now, one little lesson about orbital mechanics. To increase or decrease your orbit, you need to obviously activate your thrusters. And in the direction you activate your thrusters, that's going to be the deciding factor which way you will expand or decrease your orbit. Now, since we want to create a circular orbit, we want to activate our thrusters at the polar opposites of our orbit. This apoapsis being the highest point, and this periapsis being the lowest point of our orbit. We want to use those points as our burning points, as where we're going to activate our burns for orbit. Now, the marker that I'm pointed at right now is the prograde marker. It's a circle with lines and no cross in the middle. That means that when we are facing this marker, we are going in the direction, we are facing in the direction we're going. We are facing prograde. Now, if I were to rotate over to the other marker, which is directly opposite of this, this is our retrograde marker. This is the anti-direction. This is our anti-forward direction, or backwards direction. This is the direction that we are not going, to be simple. Now, to increase an orbit, if we were to burn here, prograde, which is forward, we would expand the opposite side of our orbit, which is the periapsis. So when we burn here at the apoapsis, the periapsis gets bigger. If we burn retrograde here at the apoapsis, the periapsis is going to get smaller. And that's kind of what we're going to do. We are in orbit, and we can now time warp with the period and comma keys, or you can come up here, up in the top left, and click it, whichever way you choose. And we are just booking it around this planet. So, we want to land. We are in orbit. I could make a couple rotations for you guys. That would be fun. And we, depending on your altitude from the planet, you can only speed up time by so much. So, we've made a full rotation around the planet. That's pretty awesome. And we need to think about now re-entering the atmosphere, going down, and we want to do that in a place that's light so we can see. So, slow down time right about here. If I burn here, the opposite side of my orbit will be affected, and as we can see, right here in the daylight, right near this crater, is where we're going to land. Actually, you know what, let's just do it over here so we have more daytime, because as you can see, the planet is also rotating on its axis, and the sun is rotating around, and the planet is rotating around the sun. So we want to make sure we're in daylight when we go back down so we can see what we're doing. So, in order to do that, we need to align ourselves on this plane, and we need to burn retrograde, which is counter to our current trajectory. And what that's going to do is it's going to lower our orbit. If we just burn a little bit, we can now see that our periapsis is shrinking. it is decreasing. Our altitude on that side of the planet is diminishing. It doesn't need to be very fast because it's pretty close to the planet. And once that hits about 0, you can see now we will no longer orbit the planet. Our orbit is broken and we will smash into the side of the planet if we don't prepare. So, you just have to pay attention to your altitude, really. And we're now on the dark side of the planet, which is kind of scary. If we look directly at the planet, the screen goes black because we can't see any stars. That's really the only indicating factor that we know where we are. It's so dark. Jebediah loves it though. He loves space. Alright, so now we want to speed things up. And once we get back into the atmosphere of the planet, it's going to stop time for us. It's going to go back to ×1 time warp, which will be at roughly just under 70,000 meters. Oh, there it was. It stopped, and yep, our altitude is 66,000 and dropping. So we're going to go back in and watch ourselves fall to the planet. Now we can see here that this rocket has just under half a tank of fuel, and that's going to be just fine. We're not really actually going to save this rocket. This rocket will be dumped. So what we can do to slow ourselves down and sort of get down to the planet faster is come over here and burn retrograde. I'll go back out and show you guys. We can see now, still, even though we're not burning on one of the polar opposites of our orbit, the curve is definitely lessening. We're going to miss that land altogether, but in the interest of time, I just want to get us down. Still burning, still burning. And we're almost out of fuel. There we go. I want to go ahead and point us facing up, away from the planet, and we're going to go ahead and drop the rocket. See ya. It's just going to fall back down into the water as we fall as well. 34,000 meters and falling. Our speed is now increasing. And Jebediah is still having a blast. He just loves this space travel thing. We still have our parachute, so not to worry. Actually, we can turn the guidance off now because we don't really need that. And we can still move. Actually, we move pretty well with this thing somehow. Oh, getting that atmospheric burn going on. That's not a fully functional part of the game yet, so we don't really need to worry about that. Passed that up for some reason. But yeah. So, alright, let's turn that back on just so we stop wobbling so hard. Actually, what I can do is I can activate the parachute, and that'll slow us down some. Since we're at about 5,000 meters, we're approaching 5,000 meters. And we just wait to touch down in the middle of the ocean. The pod floats, obviously, don't worry about that. And Jebediah Kerman will survive another space travel, or in this case, in this game, his first successful space orbital travel. Thanks anyone for watching. I hope this was educational, if not entertaining. If anyone wants a more specific tutorial, I don't claim to be an expert, but I will definitely do my best to explain anything that I didn't go over in depth in this tutorial. And we've breached 500 meters, and the parachute is opened, and we are now being supported by the parachute very slowly, 6.2 meters per second. But Yes, any other in-depth explanations that are necessary, I will do my best. I love playing this game. I think it's really, really awesome. The guys at Squad are doing a great thing by making this game. And even though it's still in its alpha stages, this game is very, very promising, very, very exciting what is going to happen in the future for this game. I'm very, very looking forward to the future of Kerbal Space Program. Oh, graphical glitch right there. So anyway, we will wait to touch down, and then we will sign off here with Jebediah Kerman, one of our trusty Kerbonauts. Almost at 100. We are in the middle of an ocean. Not anything around us. I still haven't been to that crater. I think that would be a fun place to visit. It's pretty much on the opposite side of the planet from the Kerbal Space Program, so it's not hard to get to, but it's definitely not easy. And we've touched down in the water. Everything looks good. So, signing off with Jebediah Kerman. Safe travels.